Today's story is about Amaka. She had it all. Hi friends, I hope you enjoyed this story. Please subscribe, like and share this video. Amaka had everything: beauty, wealth, and a career most envied. At 40, she was a senior consultant in a prestigious firm, owned luxury properties, and had a lifestyle curated for perfection. Yet, despite the suitors that came her way, men of status, charm, and means, she rejected them all. Friends whispered, family pressured, but Amaka remained unmoved. Marriage was not a necessity. She had carved out a life on her own terms. Her mother tried to talk to her. Amaka, my daughter, I saw Deji at the supermarket today. He dropped me home and promised to pay us a visit this weekend. Okay, but I have a conference in Ghana, Amaka said. Amaka, Deji is from a very good home. His parents are knights in the church. What exactly is the problem? Amaka did not answer. She had tears in her eyes. Amaka's mother understood her daughter's pain. She walked over and held hands with her daughter. She was also crying. This was a forbidden story in their home. A pain that refused to go away. A scar that refused to heal. Amaka was 12 when her innocence was torn from her. The day had been like any other. A warm afternoon in the quiet city of Abin. Children laughing, women pounding in the courtyard. Her mother had sent her on an errand to deliver a basket of food to her uncle, who lived 3 streets away. She never made it home the same. A shadow had followed her. Someone familiar, trusted. He lured her with a kind smile, spoke softly, led her into the thick bushes. By the time she realized the danger, it was too late. His weight crushed her tiny frame. His breath reeked of alcohol and sweat. Her screams were swallowed by the rustling leaves. Her struggle, useless against his brute strength. When it was over, she lay there, broken, bleeding, her world shattered. She never spoke of it. The shame, the fear, the helplessness, she buried them. But when her stomach began to swell, there was no hiding the truth. The whispers began. Her mother wept, her father raged. But in the end, the child inside her was unwanted, a product of violence, a curse upon their family. Out of shame, the family moved to the northern part of Nigeria. Their neighbor in the north, an elderly couple who had been seeking for the fruit of the womb for 15 years, became close to them. They shared in each other's pain. When Amaka had the child was given away to their neighbor, and it was agreed that it would never be spoken of. She never held her child, never saw his face. The wailing infant was taken from her arms before she could even memorize his scent. The scar ran too deep. Again, the family relocated, but this time to Lagos, to give their daughter another chance at life without the pain of the past. They never contacted this nice neighbor again, as this was a buried past. In Lagos, Amaka buried herself in her education, worked tirelessly and built a life of luxury. But love, Love was a threat. Love was vulnerability. She turned down every man who came close, refusing to let anyone chip away at the fortress she had built around her heart. She had brief flings that ended before attachment could take root. Her friends teased her. Her family understood her pain. But that story was one that could never be spoken of. Amaka's mother held her daughter close to her heart. She prayed for a day her daughter would find the happiness she truly deserved. Then came David, a love she never expected. Their first meeting was nothing extraordinary, just another corporate health seminar where David had been invited as a guest speaker. He was a young, ambitious doctor, and his passion for saving lives radiated through the room. When he spoke, Amaka listened, not just with her ears, but with something deeper. Their paths crossed again at a charity event. David, with his warm smile and easy laughter, had a way of making her forget the walls she had built. He was relentless in his pursuit, charming in his persistence. At first, Amaka resisted. He was too young, too hopeful, too good. But he was also different. He made her laugh, made her feel safe. For the first time in decades, Amaka allowed herself to be loved. Their romance was a whirlwind of stolen kisses, late-night conversations, and quiet moments where Amaka felt something she had never felt before: peace. When she discovered she was pregnant, she was terrified but elated. This child would be different. This child would not be stolen from her. She said yes to his proposal, believing that happiness had finally found her. According to Igbo customs, before the bride price is accepted, the elders must investigate the groom's lineage. It is an age-old tradition called Ijuese. It is still practiced today. A delegation of elders was sent to David's hometown. They came back with good news. David is from a well-respected home in the north. The elders only had good things to say about him and his family. Amaka's family was elated. The elders went ahead to describe David's family home. Amaka's mother froze. She thanked the elders and they went on their way. They would send a date for the wedding later. Amaka's mother traveled to the north to see David's parents herself, as she could not shake that dreadful feeling she had when she discovered David's exact hometown. David was not just any man. He was her grandson, the child they had given to their kind neighbor. She was shattered. The revelation struck like a lightning bolt. Amaka collapsed in silence, her mind spiraling into chaos. The once joyous wedding preparations halted. Secrets she had buried in the darkest corners of her memory clawed their way to the surface. She remembered the pain, the shame, the helplessness, the cries of the baby she never held. And now, fate had led that baby back to her, not as a mother, but as his lover, the mother of his unborn child. When David learned the truth, horror and disbelief contorted his once loving gaze. The very foundation of his identity crumbled. He felt defiled, betrayed by the cruel irony of destiny. He fled, refusing to speak, refusing to look at Amaka. The silence that followed was unbearable. Days turned into weeks. Amaka tried to reach David, but he was gone. She withdrew from society, tormented by shame and regret. The world she had built around herself, the fortress of power and wealth, meant nothing now. The whispers around her turned venomous. Then one evening, the news came. David had taken his own life. Amaka stood frozen as she read the message. Her knees buckled, her screams swallowed by the wall of her empty mansion. Her body convulsed with grief, but no tears came. What tears could ever cleanse such a sin? She gave back to their child in solitude, a child she refused to hold. On the anniversary of David's death, Amaka ended her own life, leaving behind nothing but an empty house and a child destined to grow up in the shadow of an unspeakable past. The whispers continued, because some tragedies never fade, and some sins refuse to be forgotten.